Hi, I'm Chris Neary. I own Metropolis Comics here in Sacramento. This is my first business that I've ever owned. We started out with just a small little idea, and we've actually blown up now completely into the most incredible comic store here in Sacramento. And we absolutely love it here. We're actually thinking about expanding out, so we're going to have to see how that goes. My first comic book, and I actually have a copy of the original adventure comic that my dad gave me when I was 4. Because my parents were trying to blackmail me by saying, here, have some comic books. And I'm like, oh, no thanks. And the reason why they were doing that is because they were trying to blackmail me to tell me that I was going to have a new brother or sister coming in. And that I needed to be a big brother and read to the new sibling that was coming. And my dad taught me how to read when I was 4. So I'm 48 now. So I've been reading for 44 years. I actually used to work at Intel. And I remember being on conference calls until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And I started to sketch out and design, if I ever had my own store, what would that store look like? And I kind of designed, I wanted kind of like a J-shape counter. I wanted to have it very industrial, very modern, very hip. And I kind of put that away. I had a little notebook that I always kind of doodle in. And then in 2009, when Obama took office, he kept saying, change, change, change. I thought he was actually speaking to me. So I decided, I told everybody, he's speaking to me, he's speaking to me. So I ditched everything I knew and decided to max out my credit cards and open up my own store. And that was in June of 2009. And I haven't looked back on it not once. You know, like in any brochure, they always tell you, fun thing to deal with your own business. Be your own, businessman. Be your own boss. That's true. But what they don't tell you that if you don't spend an immense amount of time, not just money, but if you do not spend an immense amount of time in your business, grow your business, care about your business, then you have no business in owning a business. We've got some business owners here in the area that they show up when they want to show up. They pop in and out every so often and pretend that they're the boss. To me, if you don't have a hands-on approach to this, you've got no business doing this. So just don't. I'm here 7 days a week. I know all of my customers. I feel that's really, really important to know everyone on a first name basis. It's really hard to remember everybody's name, but at least there's a recognition that I do know that person, and I want them to feel comfortable in my store because I want them to come back, and I want them to know that we're going to treat them the best way we possibly can. So yeah, that's my only regret is nobody told me I'd have to work 7 days a week. That's it. Most people think that when you own a comic book store that I'm sitting around all day long reading comic books or I'm humongously fat, just like the guy that they see on The Simpsons. Yes, I can stand to lose a couple pounds, but there is really no time to sit around and read a comic book. I think it's really, really important to interact with the customers. I think it's important that if you're going to put a book in a child's hands, that book needs to be something that they can read, that they can understand. It has to be age appropriate. But mostly, I just want to make sure that my customers know that as soon as they come in, they're going to be greeted. I want them to feel wanted. And I want them to have that feeling each and every time that they come in. Probably the most interesting thing is actually working with the people. We've had the most tremendous amount of customers that have really good hearts. They're fun to be around. Got people with great senses of humor. Got a lot of twisted sense of humor. The kids are amazing. The parents are amazing, and it actually gives you a sense of gratification every single day when you come in, because you just never know what you're gonna handle, what's gonna come in front of you. Completely all the time over here with my store, I like to reposition things. I don't know, maybe I've got adult attention deficit disorder that I never knew was diagnosed, but I truly believe that if you change things up, it becomes more appealing and more attractive. So that's why I spend my entire day ordering, reimagining, and just to make it more fun for not only for my customers, but for me as well. I'm going to choose DC. And not just because my first comic book that I ever got was a DC comic book. I think for DC, the current storylines for me are completely cohesive. Everything interweaves with another book. They're comprehensive. They're extremely, extremely well written. The artwork is phenomenal. And with DC, they have such a rich and phenomenal history to go back on, pull from. Currently, right now, they're pulling in characters that were from the 50s, 60s, and 70s that you guys, with your age, you guys have no idea about. But they're reimagining them for a whole new genre of people. To me, DC is just the way to go. I love my Marvel stuff. I love my X-Men. Don't get me wrong. I love Storm, the big, tall Nubian goddess. Love it. But the stories for Marvel sometimes are not cohesive. They don't mesh well with other titles. DC, it's all interrelated. That's why I enjoy it more. I think probably for me, I think back in the day I probably would have said probably the X-Men back in the day. Now I truly believe that it's probably Superman. And it's only because he tries so hard to do the right thing. He's an alien, but nobody ever thinks about that because he looks so human. But there's a strength, but a major sense of vulnerability to him that I think sometimes is lost on the readers. But now with the current incarnation of Superman, I think people start to see that. And I'm a little bit of a Superman myself. I try to do everything to try to make everybody happy and heal everybody. But then you realize sometimes you can't really do that. You do what you can, and you're the best at what you can do, and you move forward. That's it.